let's talk about artificial intelligence, which is not even, I think, the right phrase for what we're talking about, but we can hear what you think about that. What has it changed in the world of using content to market a brand? How is AI impacting? And you and I've talked about this a lot, but just, for the podcast, like what are we thinking about this right now?
Yeah, AI is interesting. I mean, it's one of those things where, and this is the case with a lot of new technology, but AI kind of is in its own lane, I think, where there's a lot of extreme perspectives on both sides. Some people think it's, the end of the world. It's the end of human creation, the creative pursuit, that sort of thing. And then other people think it's, the best thing that's ever happened. And it's going to solve all of our marketing problems. It's going to solve all of our you name it problems. And I think the truth is somewhere in between. I'm not so extreme on either side. I do have a little bit of a bias as someone with a writing background. When, ChatGPT really came to prominence earlier this year, I was a bit nervous, even a little frustrated, because I thought, this thing is going to come for what I do. It's going to come for all writers. We're not going to have jobs or creative outlets anymore because this thing's going to do it better than us. And I don't think we're even remotely near that yet. It could get to that point. I think where AI for writing and for content marketing is right now is it's a really, really good tool for coming up with ideas, coming up with outlines for expanding your own thought process, almost as like a little helper on your shoulder. But I don't think, and I'm glad it's not the case, that it's completely taking over what a really good writer can do for your brand.
Yeah, for us, a lot of the material we're producing is it's all custom produced. And so in our experience as an agency, this isn't like an existential threat because AI really hasn't been able to get us into that level of voice yet. And I understand there's a big jump between ChatGPT 3 and 4, but still, when something feels like it's from AI, it feels like it's from AI.
Yes, it does. It does. And, sometimes it's hard for me to gauge because I'm coming at this from a writer's perspective, someone who has a background in the digital marketing space and everything. So I kind of have the eyes for, this was written by a human being. This was written by AI. And maybe not everybody has that sort of lens when they're looking at something. But I do think there is some sort of innate sense that people get when they look at, two different pieces of content, one written by AI, one written by a human. They can kind of tell the difference. And we're at a point now, the technology is so new and it's evolving so fast where companies have to think about what's coming down the pike in terms of legislation, what's coming down the pike in terms of how the technology is evolving and all those things. Don't put all your eggs in this basket, I would say, because it could be a thing where Google 6 months from now has some new policy where they don't accept any, or they can really register and don't accept any AI written content or something. And if you're in a position where you've gotten rid of all your writing staff or your freelancers or something because you want to cut corners and save money with just AI, well, now you're in a position where I got to get all these writers back. And so I would say take this slow, be cautious, use it as a tool, but don't put all your eggs in the basket.
That's great. I've been doing digital marketing for 25 years, and one of the sort of scorched earth situations marketers found themselves in was following something called the Panda update. There was sort of an overdependence on a few pieces of content being spun and replicated using, basically, re-editing software approaches and publishing those extra versions out to lots of different websites, content farms, or not farms, content, parking lots to gain the inbound links. And Google just in one update said, oh yeah, that's silly. Yeah, that doesn't, marketers pushing the same, pile of garbage out to 100 different websites doesn't tell us anything about anybody out there organically linking to something that they want to share. And so that Panda update was like a major reset, and everyone was like, wow, Google isn't just going to do whatever. They're not a static thing. They're going to change and they're dynamic. And so right now with AI content, I'm seeing just how the question around citations is a real challenge. And so AI with citations would be a game changer, but it kind of takes us down the road of, well, do you get to use my content for free to build your language-based model? I don't know. So yeah, I think there's a real gap in the armor there for people who see this as a silver bullet. So yeah, what do you kind of fall back to on that for like not getting disoriented? Is it just think about the return on investment, measure like how do people know how far to lean into this right now?
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know if there is a way to know. What I will say from my perspective is, like I said before, AI can be a very useful tool. It's hard to say where it's going to go, but again, for idea generation, for things like that, if you're trying to map out, what are some good topics to write about next month or something, and if you know how to put in a prompt properly, the results you get from AI really depend on the quality of your prompting too. If you put in a really good prompt, you can get some really good helpful information to get you started thinking about things, but it's not going to be the thing that takes over and writes the content for you, at least not anytime soon.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's super helpful for everybody to kind of understand and get an insider's perspective on.